Hey everyone, welcome back to the CJ Show. I am your host Colleen, and this is my co-host Jeff.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Happy Friday, everyone.
Yes.
We'll just wait a sec just to see if anybody hops on. Maybe some people are getting off. Depends what coast you're on.
Yeah.
But we'll just wait, and then we'll actually be announcing our winner. And then we will also be contacting whoever is the winner after the show as well. So if you don't catch it live, then we'll be contacting you and sending you a message on Facebook. So let's see if anybody's going to sign on, and then we can start talking about some good stuff today.
Sounds good.
Good old Friday, huh?
Yes.
Everyone's probably eagerly awaiting whatever time they end up getting out. A lot of people end up getting out of work early on Fridays, I think.
Yeah. I imagine though this is a longer week for a lot of people though with the short past week.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, well, I think we'll just get started. So the winner of the content map that we'll be giving away is Hong Nung. And sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly, but we will be contacting you, and we'll just let you know what to do with the content map and kind of just, give you a little brief training on how you're going to be using it and how it's going to be effective for you. So congratulations. We're excited to be giving things away. Not sure what we're going to be giving away next week, but like I said, if you guys have any ideas for any current or any shows that we'll be doing in the future, or any questions that you have, just feel free to reach out. Also, when you sign on, you can just say hi and interact with us a little bit. If you have any questions on the topic that we'll be talking about, go ahead and chime in. That's what we're here for. So today we're going to be talking about becoming that go-to person in whatever your industry is. So if you just want to talk about that a little bit, Jeff, and then we'll kind of, jump right into it.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's goal, regardless of what industry or what field you're in, especially when you're really pushing to make a presence through social media or online in general. Everybody wants to be known as the go-to source for information. They want to be the guy or the girl. Well, they want to be the company that everybody trusts the most and turns to for results.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that doesn't happen overnight. But there are a couple things you can do in order to speed the process along a little bit.
Yeah. So what do you think is the quickest way to, increase your audience without using paid advertising? Because there's so many ways of using advertising, and obviously that's a big way to put yourself out there, especially if you're using social medias. So what do you think is the quickest way then?
In the past, what's always brought the best results for me in my business is by reaching out to different, and it doesn't necessarily just have to be a competitor, but different businesses within the industry that have you want to use someone that has a blog post that gets attention, that has a lot of traffic, has an audience that interacts, and you just simply ask them if you can write a guest post for their blog. And this is something you're not going to get paid for or anything like that, but it gives you an opportunity to put your name in front of their audience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I've increased my amount of followers quite a bit by doing that.
And are people usually, generally okay with you kind of reaching out to them and doing that? Or have you had any encounters where, people are a little iffy about it?
I've never... And obviously, this is probably going to reflect your ability to write, but I've never had anyone tell me no.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, I'll ask them if they're interested in having a guest blog post on their blog. And when they say yes, the first thing I'll ask is, do you have a subject or keyword you want me to use? That way, they don't get the feeling you're trying to take over anything. You're in total control of everything, and that makes them a little bit more eager to have you participate.
Yeah, okay. You're right, because you're helping them out while they're helping you out,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. And then since we're on the topic of making blog posts then, so like how often should, people be making blog or making posts on current trends in like the industry of the business that they're in?
Yeah, that's something that's very important, because when you have a blog, you don't want it to always be all about you and your business. In order to be referred to as a go-to person, you've got to show that you're up to date with everything that's going on with the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on how you go about posting on your blog, if it's something you do once a week, which is okay, one blog post a week, then I'd say you definitely want to do one post a month that just entirely focus on the industry in general, what's going on, what's trending, what's breaking news in your business industry.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got enough time that you make a blog post every day, you want to be doing that once a week, and that creates more of a possibility for you to become the person everyone's going to in order to find out exactly what's going on. So that's just like with the Chicago Cubs or the Cleveland Indians. On their website, it's not all just about the Indians or the Cubs. You can go to their site and see what else is happening in the American and National Leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that tends to bring, more of an audience then too.
Exactly that,
Okay.
and you're informing your audience on something more than just what it is you do.
Okay. Yeah. Looking kind of at the bigger picture then too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Showing that you know what you're talking about. You not only know your business and what your business does, you know about everything going on that pertains to what it is you do. You're aware of your surroundings.
Right, and it also kind of shows that, you're open-minded and you don't just know about that specific topic that you're kind of going about. So like you're saying, you're looking at the bigger picture and, making your presence, more broad.
Exactly, and it'll also give you a nice little break from the keywords you're using, because it is what it is. If you've got a keyword or subject you're trying to rank on for search results, eventually you're going to get a little worn out writing about the same thing over and over again. So this will give you a nice break in order to just write about some other things.
Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be at like a standstill, like we said, before. You don't want to be absent, especially when you're trying to build your audience, and just because you're overdoing the keywords or you're writing too much, which sounds ridiculous, but you're posting. There's such a thing as posting too much,
Yeah, you can definitely have your website a little too busy, and that can be a turnoff. But consistency is key in however often you're going to do it or however little you're going to do it. As long as you're doing that, you don't want your audience to have to guess when your next post is going to be. You want them to know, okay, that blog gets updated every Wednesday, or they update their blog every day at 4:00 in the afternoon. That's what is most important, is being consistent with whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. So I was looking at some blogs earlier today, and I kind of noticed that there's a lot of people are using a lot of external links in their content. So that just kind of brought me to what we're talking about today. So why do people generally use those then?
Because I'll go out of my way to use external links, because that shows my audience that I have a wider perspective of the subject matter. Like if I'm talking about something someone else is talking about, when I throw in their input into the mix, that necessarily doesn't say, hey, they're better at this than me, look at what they had to say. It's me willing to say, look, there's more ways to view this subject. Here's another one you might want to check out.
Yeah.
And like personally, when I'm reading something and I see that with someone else, that makes me think, okay, they obviously know what they're talking about because they're willing to involve others.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of ties into the other 2 points that you kind of made, reaching out to others in the same, industry that you're kind of covering in your content, and, helping them, but also using it to your advantage as well.
Yeah, because they're going to be notified through email, through their site when you link to their articles. So they're going to know about it and they're going to appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So how often do you recommend that you interact with other content that is being published that's in the same field that you're kind of covering as well then?
That's going to pertain to each individual business, how big of a goal that is. There's a lot of businesses who I consider very, very successful, but interacting with their audience isn't that important to them. That doesn't mean it's a downfall. It doesn't mean they're doing something wrong. It just simply means that's not what their goal is with their content, and that's okay.
What kind of field would that be then? Because I feel like it's pretty important to be, interacting in that way, especially if you're producing content.
A lot of that would be for someone who is only focused on the local market.
Okay.
If you're not worried about someone who might Google a keyword and find your name. You're worried about the people who live half a mile away from you, and you're wanting to bring them not necessarily to a website, but into your store.
Okay.
So
that kind of goes back to the demographics. Like you just want to connect with people, within a 30-mile radius or something.
Yes. Yeah. That all you're trying to do with your content is you're not trying to make a sale. You're just trying to bring awareness. That might be a perfect case to where you don't need to spend as much time interacting with the audience. But if that's a big goal you're wanting to do, if that's your goal, if it's one of the things you need to do in order to increase your sales, if that's on your top 3 goals to do, I would say you at least need to be spending an hour every other day going through each post, each article of content you've got published, and take time to answer any questions. Even if it's not a question, if somebody leaves a comment, find a way to respond. Just show them that you're there, you're paying attention, and
they're being noticed.
You're noticing how they're interacting with your content.
Yeah. Okay. So you said, focus, what was like an hour each week then? Is that what you said? Just like roughly?
No, I would say if this is a major goal and you're pushing out a lot of content, I'd say as much as an hour at least every other day.
Okay, right, because it depends on how much content you're producing then.
Exactly. Yeah, if you're just doing 1 or 2, if you're only making 1 or 2 posts on a social media platform a day, it's not going to be very hard. But if you're really, like I said, if this is one of your main goals, you're going to be doing a lot more than that.
Yeah.
You're going to have plenty to do for an hour after 2 days of business.
Okay. Yeah. So that like always goes back to, what industry that or what field you're going to be covering too. That everything always, goes back to that. Cause I mean, we could focus on so many different fields and there would be the answers would vary too. Yeah.
And you just, it all depends on what you're trying to do. Even if you're in the same field or industry as somebody else is, like, I can't think anything off the top of my head. It's Friday. It's been a long week.
Yes. I don't blame you.
But like, okay, say my mom, she owns a tool and die and metal fabrication shop.
Okay.
Her online presence and her social media is not in the top 10, probably not the top 15 things to do for her.
Does that depend on, you know, what your audience is technically going to be, or like who the people are, like who the consumers are then?
Yeah, and
Okay.
when you're manufacturing and things like that, what I think the main thing that'll the main variable will be what services that you're providing to your followers.
Okay.
So that's something for each business person to answer on
Okay.
their own in their own terms,
Yeah, right.
preferably
Depending.
Monday morning. So,
Yes. Yeah. That's great. No, that was really helpful information. Especially like, you know, like you said, it depends on their goals. So, you know, their top 5 goals, it's going to be depending on where that kind of is and you know, where they want to be in their content.
yeah, and if you're somebody that this isn't as important to you, don't don't think you're doing something wrong or you're not focused on what it should be. You just, if this is one of your goals, if this is something you're going to try to do, you already know who you are. You don't know it. You don't need anyone else to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's a good point. Happy Friday to that.
yeah, exactly.
Wise words from Jeff.
Write them down because they don't happen very often.
I have a video to look back on, so it's all caught on tape.
Okay.
We got it marked down and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see one person just jumped on. If you have any questions or you just want to say hi, go go ahead and comment down below. But do you have anything else then to add about that? Is there any special advice that you kind of want to give? Because I'm sure this is important to you, especially with your blog, and I'm sure this is probably your top goal as well.
It's one of them, but
Yeah.
probably the only other thing I could add is look what you've done in the past. You know, if you look back 3-6 months ago, what you were doing to help build your audience. Look at what worked, what didn't, what you could have done better, and it's just like stock market. It's an investment, so there needs to be research.
Yeah.
And the more thorough your research is, the easier you're going to make it for yourself.
And research not only in, your work, but what other people's work is as well. Yes.
People with the same targeted audience as you have.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I think we kind of touched on everything about that. If anybody has any other questions or, wants some advice from the big man over here, Jeff, I'm sure he'll be glad to answer anything or give you some kind of advice. So we will be back on Monday. I don't know what time are we going to be sticking with? We're kind of messing with the times a little bit because we want more viewers and we want more people to be live and interacting with us. So we're just going to be messing with that a little bit. We'll probably figure out a time and kind of we'll be posting over the weekend and letting everyone know what time. Just because this is I believe our 7th episode already. Look at that.
Yeah, and if you have a time to recommend, I can't guarantee you we're gonna base our show around you and your schedule. But if you have an idea when might be better to work, later in the afternoon, earlier in the morning, let us know. Give us some feedback, and we're doing the best we can to make it easier for you to tune in and be involved.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself then, there, Jeff.
No.
All right, everyone. I think we're going to be signing off, and we'll be seeing you Monday. We'll keep you updated. And once again, congratulations to Hong. We'll be contacting you and getting you that content map. So everyone stay tuned next week because we'll be announcing what we'll be giving away, and you can be winning something as well.
Yep, Wednesday show, we're announcing what we're giving away, and we'll have some details about it. Yep,
there you go. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll be seeing you Monday.
Yep, go Cubs.
Go Indians. See you guys.
Later.